Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. The Manhattan DA office is reportedly investigating former Trump bodyguard Matthew Calamari, that's his name, for alleged tax-free fringe benefits from the former president, such as free apartments, subsidized rent, or car leases. There's an or in there, not an and, or car leases. All right. Stephen Colbert said, wait, giving Calamari perks in exchange for his loyalty? That is a clear squid pro quo. Hack joke, but funny hack joke. The DA's office is also looking into the bodyguard's son, his name, Matthew Calamari Jr. Colbert said, like his father, Calamari Jr. hasn't been officially charged yet, but prosecutors recently advised both men to hire lawyers. You know the world is upside down when the Calamari are ordering lawyers for the whole table. Meanwhile, Colbert said Matthew Calamari sounds like the name a cop makes up when he's undercover at Olive Garden. Yeah, I'm Matthew Calamari, and this is my buddy Larry Unlimited Breadsticks. Fallon, no word yet on Trump's other bodyguards, Johnny Meatballs, Vinny Calzone, and Sammy Shrimp Scampi. Colbert, Calamari isn't the only member of the breaded crime ring in trouble. Prosecutors also investigating his son. Prosecutors recently advised both men to hire lawyers. You know the world is upside down when the Calamari are ordering lawyers for the whole table. That's great. The other night during his monologue, Stephen Colbert riffed about the New York City Health Authority's updated guidelines on safer sex in the time of COVID. Get rid of the kids. I'll give you 3 seconds here. 2, 1. One guideline could be read as an endorsement of glory holes, stating, quote, be creative with sexual positions and physical barriers like walls that allow sexual contact while preventing close face-to-face contact. Some of the guidelines involved proper ventilation for sex parties. Colbert said BS. He said, I was a young man, a young teenager, and I heard stories and rumors in the adult sex world that there were sex parties and orgies and flesh pits. Then I grew up and I found there's none of that, at least for me, and I'm in show business. Colbert said the guidelines hinted at a world of knocking boots that I know nothing about. Then a guy in the balcony offered to show Stephen Colbert the real sex parties. Colbert said, no thanks. I will recap the final episode of Conan tomorrow because I haven't seen it yet. It is in my future as I speak to you from the past. Isn't that weird how technology works? But on the second to last episode, Dana Carvey was the guest and he said he wanted to come on Conan to try some stuff out. He clutched a piece of paper from a legal pad, and he workshopped his latest guy, Rednecki, the redneck comedian who is intentionally bad. I've heard Dana Carvey do this on his very funny podcast. It is like not as good as my Jeff Foxworthy impression. It's funnier, but Rednecki is even worse than me pretending to be Jeff Foxworthy. You know what I'm saying? Am I explaining that right? I'm saying Dana Carvey's funnier than me, and Rednecki is really, really bad on purpose. Move on. Rednecki has a catchphrase which he signs off with every joke, which is, come and get some. For example, I'll do it as my half-assed Jeff Foxworthy. My grandpa invented the phrase dollars to donuts. Every time he got a buck, he bought a donut. He died at 37. Come and get some. Carvey said, this is a place for experimental stuff. Conan appreciated it and said that they share a therapist. So sometimes I forget how deep in the weeds into comedy I am. There was a comedian on America's Got Talent this week. The comedian blew away judges Simon Cowell, Sofia Vergara, Heidi Klum, Howie Mandel, even host Terry Crews. They all loved this comedian. The comedian has cerebral palsy, and he does self-depreciating stand-up. For example, the comedian said, I was at a restaurant with a bunch of friends, and the server went around the table and got everybody's order. Then when they got to me, they're like, and what will he have? And my buddy was like, I'm guessing a talk with your manager and free dinner. The comedian, Josh Blue. Josh has been around. I'm not crazy. I'm not making that up. Josh was the winner of Last Comic Standing in 2006. Check your calendar. That's 15 years ago. I love Josh Blue. I hope he wins America's Got Talent. Cool guy. Met him in real life. But he's been around. I don't know how America's Got Talent works. I guess. I don't know. Why doesn't Jerry Seinfeld just go on at this point? Good luck to you, Josh Blue. I am a fan. If my tone is coming out incorrectly here, I am not hating on Josh Blue at all. I'm just confused that everybody's like, oh, this guy's funny. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's funny. He's in his 3rd decade of being funny. Al Franken is going on tour. The source for this news is Al Franken Twitter. Al Franken Twitter, that's his Twitter, not like there's a bunch of people that tweet about Al Franken, although that's probably a thing, right? Anyway, from Al Franken, Announcing the only former U.S. Senator currently on tour. Yep, I'll be starting my 15-city tour in September in Massachusetts. There's a pre-sale and stuff. AlFranken.com/appearances. Use the code word Senator. Al Franken says you'll laugh and leave hopeful unless I'm in a bad mood. From Variety, Apple has given out a straight-to-series order for an animated adaptation of Strange Planet. This is an adaptation of a webcomic and graphic novels. The Strange Planet series tells profound and heartfelt stories about beings on a distant planet not unlike our own. Now, why do I care? It's coming from Dan Harmon. You know Dan Harmon, the guy that made Community and Rick and Morty? Now I'm interested. Strange Planet coming to Apple someday. Now coming to Peacock. Remember I told you Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg were going to do a sports show? Well, now we know what it is. It's called Olympic Highlights. Described as, quote, a hilarious, funny commentary series. Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg will recap the Olympics' most impressive displays of athleticism, as well as the moments that don't go as planned. Peacock says Kevin and Snoop will be your comedy guides through the Tokyo Olympics. Is that a terrible idea, or is that a not bad idea? That might actually be a not bad idea, right? Maybe? How about this idea? RuPaul's Drag Race is doing a crossover event with, I'll let you guess all day. Time's up. The Brady Bunch, of course. And several members of the show's original cast are on board. In celebration of Pride Month, the Paramount Plus streaming network announced dragging the classics, The Brady Bunch. The special promises to make and break pop culture history as it reunites the Brady Bunch original cast members alongside RuPaul's Drag Race favorites as they recreate the 1971 episode, Will the Real Jan Brady Please Stand Up? The event will use state-of-the-art technology to transport the cast into the original Brady house. Sure, why not? One of my favorite things in the world are Fast and Furious movies. No, seriously, I was on board with this from the first movie way back 20 years ago, The Fast and the Furious, one of my favorite films. Fast 9 is out. I won't spoil it, but if you want to bail, I'm going to tell you if I liked it or not in a second. I liked it. I really liked it. I've seen it twice already. Don't ask questions. I've seen it twice, okay? Don't ask. Anyway, Fast 9, lots of fun. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. We can talk about Fast 9 next week. Now, Monday, I have it in my notes. We're going to talk about Luca. So you've got the weekend to watch Luca on Disney+, because Monday I'm spoiling that for you. Bakersfield Now caught up with Joel McHale. You know Joel McHale? He was Jeff on Community. Jeff said, I always told jokes. I used it as a defense mechanism in school when I couldn't read. I was terribly dyslexic, but now I'm laughing all the way to the bank. So, ha ha. Joel's new job is he's the official Captain Happy Hour officer for Q Mixers. This sounds like some product placement, but sure, I'll go with it. The Bakersfield Now host Aaron Perlman said, let's talk about your new fun title, Cheap Happy Hour Officer. I used Google search and it said that happy hours from 4 to 7. Does that mean your title allows you to tell others when they can have happy hour? Joel McHale said, dude, this is a global job, a global happy hour position. If it's 5 o'clock in Tokyo, I'm there. Joel pulled his inner George Lopez. He too can plug a product. Joel said, why not try an American Mule? Take a little bit of vodka, a lime, pour that ice in, then you hit it with a ginger beer Q mixer. This is the secret weapon because when you have a dry gin and tonic, life is not worth living. Joel McHale, did you not make enough money off Community? What are you doing, man? There was some news, though. Joel said, we haven't done the podcast, the one he does with Ken Jeong, allegedly, in a while because Ken is so busy and shorter. It's a ways off, but we're hosting the New Year's Eve special for Fox. We're really close friends, even though I'm more talented than him. Aaron Perlman of the Bakersfield Now, whatever his site said. Did you just lay down breaking news that you and Ken Jeong will be hosting Fox's New Year's Eve party? Joel McHale said, yes, I am dropping breaking news right here. Aaron Perlman said, cancel culture has crept into comedy, allowing comedians to not talk about certain issues. How are you working around that? Joel said, when I listen to comedians complain about that, I'm like, okay, they don't understand it. I hear comedians not wanting to go to colleges, and I'm here to tell you they are some of the most fun audiences and continue to be some of the most fun. When I hear comedians saying that, then I say, then they should stop doing it. I can't get out there fast enough. If this is something you have a problem with, then talk about it on stage. That is your comedy news for today. Normal episode tomorrow. We'll see what Conan did on his last show. Follow this show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. See you then.